Hi, I'm Emma Green and welcome to Marketing Monologues. And today we are joined by Andrew of Downtown in Business. So welcome, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Emma. Thank you very much for having me on the series.
So originally born in Merseyside, studied in Leeds, returned to Liverpool, studied in Chester. You've held several senior roles within agencies, different industries, sectors. You've worked with Trinity Mirror. You've had your own agency. So what initially brought you into marketing?
Okay, so Liverpool born and bred, and then I sort of went on my adventure to Leeds, and I went to study economics at the University of Leeds. But one of the modules, as it were, was marketing related. So I did marketing for a term, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. And
it was much more interesting than econometrics and maths and all that sort of stuff, which really wasn't my bag, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And so when I got my grad job, I went to be a graduate for Bank of Scotland.
Yes.
Who at the time, they had a big northern HQ in Chester. And the graduate scheme was phenomenal. And this is sort of what got me into marketing, really, because it was 6 months, it was 2 years, and it was 6 months in 4 different departments.
Okay.
So I had 6 months in IT, 6 months in business analysis, I had 6 months in direct sales, and I had 6 months in marketing. And that 2-year stint with Bank of Scotland proved to me that I was never going to be a COBOL programmer. IT was not my bag ever. It was the most hideous 6 months of my life. It was awful. I'm surprised it didn't kick me off after that, to be honest, because that was the first 6 months as well. And I ended up, and I really enjoyed doing the direct selling.
Yes. Okay.
So I was doing telemarketing, outbound sales on behalf of the British Medical Association, the Royal College of Nursing, Renault Finance, AA Financial Services, all sorts of stuff. And so that probably really served me well in my future part of my marketing career.
Yes.
And then obviously I did 6 months in marketing support as well. And that was great, but financial services marketing is wonderful. And it was a big PLC, great brand, probably not as flexible as perhaps some of the companies I work for future, but no, thoroughly enjoyable. And that sort of got me into marketing and led me into my next part of my career, which was at the time was Trinity Mirror.
Yes.
But I think it's Reach PLC nowadays.
Yeah.
And we'd not long taken over the Daily Mirror Group and stuff like that. But I was working in the regional titles. So I started off working in Liverpool.
Yeah.
For the Liverpool Daily Post and Echo and all sorts of different brands. And then I eventually went and formed a special projects department. And the special projects department was born out of the fact that newspapers were being battered by all sorts of new entrants into the industry. So there was all sorts of individual magazines and titles and stuff coming to take away the car classifieds, the jobs classifieds and all that sort of stuff. So I was asked to go and launch these special projects departments, which was sort of a combination of publishing, marketing and advertising sales. And we did all sorts of stuff. We launched the official Everton Football Club magazine, the Evertonian.
And that was, as an Evertonian, I bet that was a bit
that was a labour of love,
Yeah.
I have to say, Emma. That was ace. That was really good.
Yeah.
We approached Liverpool as well to do the same for them. They turned us down. So we said, okay, fine. Well, we'll do the COP then, which is an unofficial fanzine.
Yes.
And they basically took the mick out of them.
Yeah.
All the way through on their toes, as I thought. And we did all sorts of stuff, really, all sorts of other magazines as well and projects. And then from there, that really took me into a marketing-based role.
Yeah.
So I started off as the commercial marketing manager for Trinity and went around different titles and got best practice from different places. So I'd spend time in Belfast, spend time in Newcastle, spend time in Birmingham, in Cardiff and stuff, and being best practice from the regions into different places.
Yeah, so it's really bringing all of that different knowledge.
Wonderful. And that's part of, and I'm sure we'll cover the different local cultures and what's important to local territories and geographies and stuff.
Yeah.
And they are different. And you've got to take that on board. And then from there, I eventually became head of marketing development, I think it was. Yeah, head of marketing. It's a long time ago, Emma. Head of marketing development and looking after all sorts of stuff, really. Consumer-faced stuff, B2B-faced stuff.
Yeah.
And also readership research as well. So we had a team at the time. Now it's all digital. It's mostly online, apart from the qualitative stuff. But even the quant stuff at those times was face-to-face. So we had teams of people literally all over the UK in shopping streets, in shopping malls, asking them what they thought about different parts of the paper, what they thought, what would they like to see more of, less of, what was missing, what did they really like. And we did all sorts of stuff, surveys in who was going to win the next election, and both locally and nationally. Yeah, really interesting. So that really, and working in media was very, very different to financial services. Yeah, as you can probably appreciate.
Yeah.
And it was just great fun. I mean, like really great fun. We did all sorts of stuff. We did we enlivened the brand. So the brand was quite 2D at times, and we took the brand to the people. And what I mean by taking the brand to the people, so when we had a campaign, so we had like a classified campaign in Liverpool called Bestseller, and we used to use sort of lookalikes, all sorts of stuff. And so we decided the lookalike campaign won 2 International Newspaper Marketing Association awards. We had to go to the Netherlands to go and collect that. It was great. We were up against the LA Times and O Globo and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And we won. It was great. But then, so coming back to the enlivening the brand, we took that and then we put on a concert. We actually brought together lookalike, like Marty Pellow from Wet 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 and Tina Turner and Frank Sinatra and people like that. And we hired out was it the Royal Course, I think it was at the time? We hired the Royal Course, put a big concert on, fee paying, it wasn't free, had to buy tickets. It was absolutely stunning, bringing the brand to life, letting the people enjoy what the brand was all about. Obviously, it was a big pitch about what we were all about. But then we did that in other parts of the country with different parts of newspapers and stuff, and tried to bring it to life, really.
Fantastic. So how would you describe what is meant by growth marketing?
Growth marketing, well, I think people get a bit too technical about growth marketing. Yeah. And I think that, what do businesses want? Okay, well, businesses want to sell more stuff. Businesses want, on the whole, they want to make more money. So they need to reduce costs to do that and want to be a bit more profitable. But from a growth marketing perspective, that could be growing the brand of the business. That could be growing the pipeline, the lead generation side of the business. Yeah. That could be growing the sales of the business, growing the perception in the marketplace. But also I think that's become increasingly important is growing the employer brand. Yeah. Because one of the huge challenges, if you ask a lot of business owners nowadays, everybody from SME all the way through to PLC outfits, you will find that recruiting the right people is really tough. Yeah. So how do you do that? Do you give them more money? Possibly. Do you give them a better, wider remuneration package? Possibly. Or do you develop a brand and a proposition that makes them feel like the potential applicant or worker could be more aligned and wedded to that business? Yeah. Do they feel like it's not really about the money, guys? So it's not really about the package. It's not really about the hybrid, because all these things are sort of expected nowadays. Yeah. I want to feel good that I'm working for that business. Yeah. I want to feel good that I'm empowered, that I'm trusted, that I'm valued. So all of those things are where marketing has a massive role to play in aligning itself internally with HR and talent divisions to make sure that recruiter brand message and that voice gets put out there in the marketplace. So when you talk about growth marketing, long way to answer your question. Yeah. When you talk about growth marketing, there's so many different things. You can grow an employer brand, you can grow sales, you can grow opportunities, you can grow networks, positions of influence. It's whatever you want it to be, really.
So I know we've discussed previously the importance of marketing. Obviously, you kind of, as a marketer, you market your brand, your company, organisation, but there's a lot of marketing that goes internally as well. So how would you describe the importance of kind of marketing and communications with teams, but specifically maybe with like sales or business development?
So I'll tell you a little true story, absolutely true story. So I went to work for a company called LBM, the worst brand reputation in the industry. Yeah. Shocking reputation, sharp practices. And for those of you who are watching or listening who are old enough to remember the Stephen Fry campaign, which is about the Alliance and Leicester, and Sproggett and Sylvester, they were definitely in the Sproggett and Sylvester category. They were dealing with companies that were sort of like lower level companies. And the reason why I say that is I went into that business, and I think at the time we were turning over 8 million quid, but dealing with lower level companies to do that.
Yeah.
We had about 100 people. And then 5 years later, we had 2,500 people in 5 years.
Gosh, yeah.
And we were turning over 50 million quid. And the brands that we had amongst the portfolio included within that period of time. It took us about a year to get there. But after that point, we had O2, we had Vodafone, we had Lloyds, we had More Than, we had British Gas, Centrica. We had all of those people that were a part of the portfolio. And so the only way that was a possibility was how marketing aligned itself into business development so that it became accepted. Okay. And it was a go-to. It wasn't the colouring in department.
Yeah.
And after the sales director, I was marketing director, and the sales director at the time was a guy called Eamon Longmore, who was a legend in anyone who was in that industry knows Eamon. Sadly, he's passed away, but he, after 12 months and a day, I'm sure he must have known this, but he didn't make it like he did. So he literally, he came up to me and he said, "Hey, Andrew," he said, "You've been here quite a bit now." I said, yeah. He said, "How's it going?" I said, "Yeah, it's great, thanks." He said, "How long has it been?" I said, "Actually, it's funny you should ask him, because yesterday," I said, "it was my 12-month anniversary," like that. And he went, "Oh, amazing." He said, "Give us your number again. I'll stick it in my phone now, because it clearly looks like you're here to stay." And I thought, yeah, okay. But that was about right. Yeah. Because it was about, you've got to prove value.
Yeah.
So from a marketeer's perspective, you're seen as a cost center. You're not seen as somebody that can develop opportunity. You've got to prove value. Yeah. So in that particular instance, what did I do? So I tried to turn around the behaviors. So introduce some more professional behaviours. Bearing in mind, I spent the last 10 years working in PLC environments. Yeah. They're all FTSE 100 businesses that I'd worked for previously. And then went to little old LBM in the SME sector that were operating sharply. Got the shock of my life. Yeah. I mean, some of the stories were horrific. There would be a best-selling book. Honestly, awful. So then you turn around the brand. You then start to have internal behaviours better. The relationship with the sales team and the business development team was more aligned. It wasn't separate. I asked to sit with them. So there wasn't a marketing team. I brought my own marketing team in over a period of time, but we were in amongst the business development team. Yeah. So we became a go-to. And if you speak to anybody that, it was a great breeding ground for future success for other companies, because a lot of the key sales guys there went on and set up their own companies and stuff and took a lot of those behaviours with them. So the brand perception changed overnight. All of a sudden we were outside of the top 50 in league tables. We became a top 5 company in outsourced contact centres and data and insight and innovation departments. And it changed dramatically. And the first indication of that marketing-led, talk about growth marketing and transformation. Yeah. The first evidence of that change was Nuala Sumner, who was the PA to the chief exec, who was on the ground floor. Yes. And we were on the first floor. And Nuala came running up the stairs and she said, "I've got a tender here from Vodafone. They're asking us to bid for, I think it was 5 million quid. Okay. They want us to bid, and no one was dealing with Vodafone. Okay. The only person from our business that had spoken to Vodafone was me at a round table. Yeah. Okay. And one of the really bright sales guys went, "Oh yeah, sorry, bring that over here. That's mine. I was talking to their sales director last week." Like that. And he wasn't, but he was super sharp. And he said, "Yeah, that's mine. Bring it over here." And we won the Vodafone contract. And it took a major team of people to win that, because obviously you're dealing with the PLC. Yeah. There's due diligence left, right and centre. But from Vodafone, O2. From O2, Lloyds Bank. From Lloyds Bank, More Than. From More Than, British Gas, Centrica. Yeah. All of these things, they followed. So marketing the alignment with business development had a major part to play.
Yeah, I think even when you work in an office, you're surrounded by different people from different departments. You're exposed to so much more as well than just sticking to one department and your know-how. Yeah. You kind of pick up on a lot of conversations and things like that as well, which is really helpful for just seeing bigger picture sometimes.
Yeah, 100%, Emma. I think that I think the other thing, you can pick stuff up. Okay, they call it water cooler conversations and stuff like that, don't they? But I think they pick stuff up from you as well.
Yeah.
And I think they adapt to learned behaviours.
Yes.
So I was, I know, and this was the editor of Precision Marketing magazine, which was a UK-wide industry trade press. And he was the editor-in-chief. His guy is called Charlie McKelvey. And he said, you know what, Andrew, you are the acceptable face of LBM. He said, everybody else is a scoundrel.
Oh.
He said, and I went, well, they're not quite as scoundrelous as they used to be. I said, but I take your point like that. And he said, but it's important. It's about how you do it. When I was talking before about developing that brand.
Yeah.
So it's developing a brand that people can trust.
Yes.
So I've, driven here today in the pouring down rain, gone past the big IBM sign, which made me think about, the old adage that nobody ever got sacked for choosing IBM.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you change the letter to LBM, it got to the point that nobody got sacked for choosing LBM because they smashed it. They were really, really, really good at what they did. And they won so many big contracts and delivered so much better than other companies did.
So kind of touching back on your previous point where you've moved around, like I said, Belfast, Newcastle.
Yeah.
So how do your strategies kind of change or alter or are more bespoke to, say, geographical locations or, like you mentioned, cultures as well?
Sure. So we got, I'd like to say that, so I said before we had 100 people at LBM when I first started, and it was a single site building. We ended up with 7 sites across the UK. Okay, with a head office and plus 6 sites. We had a London office and stuff like that. And we had call centres, outsourced contact centres in various places and stuff. And I would like to say that strategically we made the decision to go to Northern Ireland, but it wasn't really that strategic because they paid us to go.
Oh, okay.
So Invest NI at the time gave us a lot of money to go and set up in 2 deprived areas, one in White Rock and one in Spring Hill, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And we had to launch there. So we had, in those 2 places, we had 800 people. Okay, from scratch.
Yeah.
From zero, we then went and had to recruit 800 people for 2 contact centres.
How long did that take?
That was within about 3 months.
It's quite quick time.
Very quick. No, trust me, that's quick. Okay.
Yeah.
If anyone's got any HR jobs, give me a shout. But no, all joking aside, I mean, so how did we do that? So we wanted to, so obviously we looked at some of our existing clients and we said, listen, you've got O2, you want us to, we had O2 at the time.
Yeah.
And they said, right, you want us to expand. We're going to take some people, we're going to recruit, and we're going to make one of the contact centres almost like you were walking into O2.
Oh, okay.
So you could walk into the contact centre in one of the Belfast sites and it was like going into Planet O2 down south. Everything was fully branded. Remember the Bubbles campaign that they had? Yeah. There were bubbles everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Everything was like literally you're going in. And so much so that the team there, they never said they work for LBM. They said they work for O2. And they were assimilated into it. So over a period of time, we grew that quite quickly. And who didn't want to work for O2?
Yeah.
Okay. But in order to gain community acceptance, because Northern Ireland comes with its own challenges.
Yes.
And everyone talks about the troubles. Well, it was a reality. So one of the things that is cross-cultural and cross-religious is hurling. Okay. So it is. So at the time, I'm going back now, crikey. So in 2005, England won the Ashes for the first time in 20 years.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be there at the Oval when we won the Ashes.
Amazing.
Which was incredible. Kevin Peterson's innings and all the rest of it. The substitute fielder getting Ricky Ponting run out and, all sorts of kickoffs on the pitch. It was amazing. Okay. So Andrew Flintoff was the hero. Okay. Yeah. He was the Alf Tupper of the England cricket world. Very Corinthian. And there wasn't a bigger celebrity full stop in the UK at the time. Yeah. Forget cricket. There was nobody bigger than him, full stop. So he was a Lancastrian, is a Lancastrian, and played for Lancashire Cricket Club. So at the time, we were the main sponsors of Lancashire Cricket Club. Okay. So we were on the chest, on the arm. We also were one of the secondary sponsors for Sale Sharks. So we were utilising, that's another conversation, but we were utilising sport to leverage the brand, to be on the back page of the Telegraph and the Times and the Guardian and all those things. So we talk about brand acceptance, O2 and Vodafone. This was all part of the plan. There was a plan. Okay, so we did. So we took Fred, and we spent all of our budget on an EasyJet flight over to Belfast, got him out there for a few days, and there's an equivalent to Fred, okay, in the hurling community. And I want to say, forgive me if I've got this wrong, but I think it's DJ Curry, okay? Not DJ as in the decks, but DJ as in the very, very famous GAA player. So, and we there was like a little mini park outside the call centres.
Okay.
And we commandeered the park unofficially, no permission, no request, seek forgiveness, don't ask permission type approach.
Yeah.
And we got all of the contact centre staff out there. We got all the media out there. We got a load of clients out there as well. And we got Fred against this guy, and Fred with a hurling stick and a hurling ball, and this guy with a cricket bat and a cricket ball, and who could hit it the furthest. Nothing more scientific than that. Okay.
Good one.
Fred won. Just, okay, much to the disappointment of the local crowd, as you can imagine. However, you talk about cultures and local understanding and stuff.
Yes.
I thought that would be quite a cool way
to
get the brand to life and the talking point. And look, in 2006, social media wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
But that was wildfire, and we grew the teams really quickly, and we had community acceptance really quickly. So one of the businesses that we had Protestants, we had Catholics, we had Christians, Muslims, all the rest of it. We had everybody working for us and all coming together. So that was probably a really good example, I'd say, of how to implement something really empathetically into an area.
I think you do need to do a lot of research before you branch out to different locations. Like, say, I'm not from Liverpool, but there's definitely a big difference to Leicester and Liverpool. And I've worked in Belfast before in the past, and so I can definitely see the areas which you would have to do additional research or due diligence surrounding campaigns. So you've worked, like you mentioned, different sectors and industries, from councils, telecoms, Royal Albert Hall.
Oh yeah.
So what would you kind of say are the tips or the importance for fostering strong connections with clients and the community?
I think people sometimes get hung up on, you're a financial services expert, or you're a built environment expert, or you're a SaaS expert, or whatever. The principles are broadly the same. Yeah. Okay. You've got to really listen. Okay, you've got to listen to your existing customer base. Yeah. You've got to listen to your prospect audience. You've got to understand what the actual challenges are, not what your product is. Yeah. Your product, your proposition, your service level has got to follow what the market is looking for and not what you are prepared to give to it. Yeah. So whichever sector you're in, whichever community you're in, you've got to really understand the challenge. So is the challenge having a renewable energy system in play? Possibly. Yeah. Okay. Is there a fiscal cost to that? Yes, there is. Is there a payback? Yes, there is. A good example of probably really truly understanding like a sector and what the customers are looking for. So I was at a business called Fleet Solve, and Newcastle. So we did decarbonisation, on-site decarbonisation, pathway to net zero, sustainability, a lot of product services. And we did it for the NHS, did it for Tesco, and we did it for London School of Economics and various GP surgeries and primary schools and stuff like that. But the one that sticks in my mind is Newcastle University. Okay, yeah. So Newcastle University was its most recent decarbonisation installation. And it took 5 of the campus buildings off-grid. Okay, so it took it off-grid to have their own little microgrid, predominantly renewable energy. Yeah. And so it allowed the new building to be built because it satisfied the new building regulations with energy, green energy supply. But then it obviously reduced the cost as well because it was ultimately a cheaper way of doing things. But equally, what was really important to them, so what I didn't really understand at the time was their customers, so Newcastle any university's customers, on the whole, are 17-year-old kids. Yeah. Okay, on the whole. So when they're making a decision about going round to open days and filling out UCAS forms and personal statements, what they're looking at when they understand, my daughter's just gone to University of Liverpool, okay?
Yes.
So one of the things that's big in her world and in a lot of, 18-year-old world is sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I want to do psychology in her case. Yes, I want to go to, I want to be at a Russell Group uni, okay?
Yeah.
So then the process, so which university?
Yeah.
So the two things, and this is international, not just UK. So when the research has taken place, sustainability actions by that university and social justice actions by that university are the top two in every research piece that's ever been done. Sometimes it's social justice, sometimes it's sustainability, and the other way around. But they're the two things. Okay, so the universities are actively looking to engage with communities and with energy systems and supplies to go green.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a real race because guess what? It really counts to the customers.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, if they didn't, there would be a fiscal penalty in 2050.
Yeah.
But hey, 2050, dear me. That's a while away.
Yeah.
Not, but you take my
There's
point.
still time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that because they understand the customers and they want to get this in play, it's a big thing. So there was, the marketing department. So I was liaising with the marketing department in their enterprise team.
Okay.
And saying, hey, so a client, so marketer to marketer type thing.
Yeah.
Listen, I just want to talk to you about this thing, okay? Don't know whether you're fully aware of it, but this is what we've been doing with your operations team, with your site team, with your engineering team, all the rest of it. And I remember the conversation. Tom Bramold, legend, Newcastle Uni, great guy. And I told him, and he went, oh no, Andrew, you've got that wrong. I went, sorry? He said, no, it's not. It can't be 1,400 tons of carbon saved every year. It just can't be. He said, that doesn't exist. He said, it must be 140. I said, Tom, trust me. I said, you need to trust me here. I know we're on a Teams call. We've not met properly. I said, it's 1,400 tons of carbon that this project is saving the university. He said, well, if that's the case, Andrew, and we both need to go away and check that. He said, this will be Europe's largest on-site decarbonisation capital project ever achieved.
Which is
Which is ginormous. I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he came back and he went, well, I won't say what he said. Okay,
you were right.
But he said, oh my God, Andrew. He said, this is incredible. He said, right. He said, we're having this all over the website, all over the newsletters, all over social channels. He said, come down. We're going to create a visitor unit for it. We'll get it all branded up and stuff. And I said, well, I've got 10 other universities here who are chomping at the bit to come and see how we've done this.
Yeah.
Bring them. Brilliant.
Yeah,
he said, because he's going to be at the next conference talking about how Newcastle are brilliant
the
and what they've done. And stuff.
Yeah,
exemplar, exactly. Yeah. Benchmark, best practice, all the rest of it. So the point, I suppose, of all of that is, irrespective of your sector, understand the principles.
Yes.
Okay. The principles are the principles are the principles. Get that right. Listen, understand, what do they really want to achieve? And then how can you pull together a product, a proposition, a service, and deliver that satisfies the customer challenge?
Yeah. It's all centered around customer.
Sounds really basic, doesn't it?
It doesn't, because it quite easily gets lost sometimes as well. Like you say, the basic principles, and then when you draw things back, you think it's so obvious when it's staring you in the face, but sometimes when you're in it, it's really not that straightforward.
Well, I mean, our ops director was like getting really excited about NOx levels. I went, listen, I don't care about NOx levels, noise reduction levels and stuff like that. Not interested. No one's interested in how excited you are about NOx levels. All the kids really want to know that this is really sustainable. And you want to be able to promote it. No one's interested in the technical stuff. And
they're going out partying, they want loud.
Yeah, do you know what?
They don't want quiet.
Exactly. Oh my God, yeah. Don't they just?
So going back to the sustainability, you sit on the Liverpool City Region Sustainability Board, Group Board. So how do you see kind of marketing influencing sustainability influencing marketing, and kind of maybe the trends or forecasts for the future?
Okay. Wow, that's a big question then.
Yeah, sorry, that is a big question.
Okay, it's about 5 different parts of that. I think, okay, so yeah, I'm really proud of the fact that I sit on Liverpool City Region's board for the built sustainability in the built environment, and we focus specifically on property estates and construction.
Yes.
And unusually, Liverpool City region, I've got various clusters, advanced manufacturing, life sciences, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And sustainability and pathway to net zero isn't one of the clusters, really surprisingly.
Yeah.
And when I asked that question, which is a tough question,
I
said, why? They said, it's the thread that runs through all the other ones. I went, okay, so you've not thought about it. Okay,
Yeah.
so they were like, okay, so it should be a cluster really. Because the reality is that, so this was, so myself and some colleagues, so there are 5 of us who are board directors on this thing. And they're all from the built environment, because the built environment is the largest emitter of carbon in all of the sectors. Transport's not too far behind, but 40% plus of the carbon emissions come from the built environment. Okay, not amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of that is inbuilt already into existing concrete structures and stuff.
Yeah.
So people say, hey, knock it down, rebuild it with PV on the roof and air source heat pumps and biofuel CHPs and battery energy storage and all the rest of it. Okay, so by knocking it down, the amount of carbon that's going to come out of that, which is embodied already, is going to be really tricky, guys.
Yeah.
So you might want to retrofit it. You might want to think about, is there a way we can make this better before you start to knock it down and build from scratch? I suppose my point is that marketeers really have to be aware of all of this.
Yeah.
So there will definitely be campaigns within organizations, within sectors that are specifically sustainability focused.
Yeah.
Okay. Because guess what? All of the research tells everybody that people want to work for a company that is B Corp.
Yeah.
Or is at least have an ESG policy.
Yeah.
Or at least has a list of demonstrable sustainability actions that they can point to. Bit like the kids at uni want to go to a uni that can demonstrate it.
Yeah.
People want to work for a business that they feel good about.
Yeah.
Hey, this is great. These guys are B Corp, and that's why people are working so hard to get that sort of accreditation.
Yeah.
So from an employer brand perspective and a positioning perspective, that will absolutely be front and center of a lot of marketers' responsibility.
Yeah.
I think that naturally, albeit it is sort of direct marketing is making a little bit of a comeback, but everything's digital.
Yeah.
There's a lot of digital marketing happening. It's very trackable. It's very now. It's very quick, very adaptable. So I think that is actually a little bit more sustainable than some of the ways that previously had happened. But I think sustainability is always in a marketer's mind when they're looking at campaigns and when they're looking at, particularly when I go back to that point about what do your customers want?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You could be, you might not be even a public sector framework if you don't have an ESG policy.
Yeah.
In the NHS now, forget it. If you can't point to the fact that you've got a robust ESG policy, and even the likes of, who am I thinking, Capgemini, KPMG, all those guys, they're all, if they're not net zero already, they won't be far off it.
Yeah.
Because they need to be, because green finance is cheaper.
Yeah.
If they want to leverage new projects and stuff, green finance is cheaper. So that's why NatWest have got a green finance team. That's why, as do many others.
Yeah.
But, I know the guy is the regional director for the Northwest, and he's specifically looking after green finance. And they're looking for businesses that they can invest in that have the right green credentials.
Yeah.
Without being greenwashed.
Yes.
Have the legitimate right green credentials. So people want to work for a greener company. The greener company can get cheaper money.
Yeah.
And they can also get competitive advantage ahead of the market if they can prove the case.
Yeah.
So from a marketing perspective, if you're not thinking about these things, start.
Yeah, it's definitely a massive
it's a
factor
thing.
moving forward. So what would you say is your tips moving forward for maybe aspiring marketers, people who are in marketing? Do you think it is, for example, sustainability or?
No. And forget I said that, but no, I do. No, I think you need to be a bit more fundamental than that.
Yeah.
I think if you are an aspiring marketer, don't be afraid to be different.
Yeah.
Please just do everything, okay, that everybody else does. Dare to be different, definitely.
Yeah.
Take risks and be memorable.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
be memorable. Do the hurling thing. Do you know what I mean? Go
Yeah.
do there's all sorts of stuff that will be memorable.
Yeah.
And it lives on. And I think just, yes, there's a rule book. Yes, there are principles. You know, Philip Kotler's 5 Principles of Marketing. Brilliant. Great.
Yeah.
Serves a lot of purpose for everybody. But try and add your own little angle to it. Try and be a bit different. How are you going to stand out? I mean, sectors I've been into, excuse me, when I went into renewable sector at FleetSolve, the competitors were absolutely bang average.
Yeah.
As was FleetSolve at the time, okay? But the beauty of it is, if you go to a sector and it's just average, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Because you can go in there and absolutely make a difference. You can turn it upside down.
Make it your own.
You can make it your own, blank sheet of paper stuff. You know, we did, you know, at FleetSolve, we decided, right, okay, network's going to be really important for us. So I went to Wirral Chamber, then Liverpool City Region, and the growth company and stuff like that. And we got little old FleetSolve, you know, UK-wide company, but based in Bromborough on the Wirral. Yeah. And we became the renewable energy ambassador for Liverpool City Region.
Brilliant.
So we were then invited to go on the international trade mission with the combined Metromers with Steve Rotherham and Andy Burnham. And then following on from that, I think there were 30 companies on that. Following on for that, we were one of only 4 across the whole Northern Powerhouse invited to the next one the following year. Yeah. And I was thankful enough to be asked to deliver a keynote speech at the Irish Sustainability Summit. Yeah. Based around a case study, which is always the best way to do these things. Yes. And we had a passive house class winning sixth form college over in Erne in Enniskillen. Yeah. And we delivered that and it was great. So the point being is that just don't be normal. Try and be a little bit different. So that would be my advice, really. Sure, there's probably loads of people thinking, oh, Andrew, come on, there's so many more principles you can advise people here, but just try and be a bit more memorable.
I think that's a really good one because that's what sets you apart in the marketplace and as an individual as well, isn't it? Yeah. So just to end on, what's your favourite campaign?
Oh, wow. Okay.
That is a big question.
So I know this, right? So I would always say this, and I feel like for anyone that's sort of watching this, they'll look like I'm a brand ambassador for this company, but Guinness. Okay. Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt, because so you talk about campaign, but if I can widen that and say that Guinness as a brand have been consistently at the top of their game for decades. Yes. Okay. So, you know, the campaign based around the surfer, okay? The campaigns based around the sapper, the what was it called now? It was something like the strikingly dressed people of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they had all these in those things, and you had the St. Patrick's Day ads, and they've just been just remarkably, consistently good and memorable and funny. Yes, and the tone of voice is spot on. The Guinness dance, I mean, it became apparently a cult classic in nightclubs for that year, and you know, and the beauty of it was, in all of these things, whatever they've chosen, you know, if you go to the bar and you ask for a pint of Guinness, it takes a little bit of time. Yeah, if it's done properly, and all of these ads were demonstrating that. Guess what? You know, it's worth the wait. Yeah, because it, you know, however, you know, whatever campaign they ran, they really got the message home. And I just think they're just good all the time. And whoever it's been, I think Ogilvy have been their agency for ages, and they've had some other people as well, WPP I think, but they are outstanding. And from a consumer perspective, so me as the human, me as the consumer, yeah, but me as the marketer, yes, like with all that like ridiculous background well, and all the rest of it, and I look at these things with a different lens sometimes. Yes, and I remember the first time I saw the which ad was it? I think it was the Democratic Republic of the Congo ad, and I just watched it and I just marvelled, and I was like, "That's really good." Like,
sometimes if you see really toucans, you think of Guinness because it was that campaign that exactly sticks with you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, students now they've got it in the bedrooms. Yeah. You know, there's like big toucan signs and all the rest of it. And they've really brought the brand to life. Yes. So I would say, into my previous point about dare to be different. Yes. Be a little bit more memorable. Just go and find all the case studies on Guinness. Yeah. Have a little look at it. see what they were looking to achieve, seeing what their brand values were, who
Yeah.
their audience was, how they used the tone of voice, how they'd listened, probably a million bits of research,
Yeah.
and look at the actual creative installation as to what they pulled together. And that will show you how you can be different.
It's also really clever, like you say, they understand that their customers are going to have to wait for their product when compared to lagers or similar drinks being poured. So it's kind of like pointing that out, but then telling you why you should still buy Guinness.
Absolutely. And, so I talked about those trade missions before.
Yeah.
So the international trade mission to Dublin, which was the combined Metro Mayor one. So the big, welcome by the mayor and all the rest of it, and the presidents of Ireland and stuff, was actually in the at the Guinness brewery in Dublin.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like what a visitor experience that is. And talk about bringing the brand to life. It was exceptional.
Yeah.
Really, really good, the way in which they did it. And I think that, so they've got to the point, and I know it's a huge brand, but they've got to the point where they've sort of got all the angles covered, really.
Yeah.
And that sort of visitor experience is, and if you've not been, honestly, if you're in Dublin, go. Well, go to Dublin for that, because it is it's really, really cool. And I think that, again, it's just sort of like the physical manifestation, and it tells the story. Storytelling's really strong.
Yeah.
The narrative's really strong, and it's great. It's really good.
Brilliant. So thank you so much, Andrew, for your time. That was fantastic.
Feel like I've rambled.
No,
So,
not at all.
but no, thank you, Emma. I've really enjoyed being part of the novel and marketing monologues. It's a really important thing that you do for the marketing community, to give a bit of a voice for people that have done a few decent things over their career.
Perfect. Well, you've definitely done that.
Thank you.
you, Andrew. Thank you very much for watching. You can watch, click, share and engage, and we'll see you next time on Marketing Monologues.